Some of these racist comments, I mean, at least they're putting some work into them. Hey guys, I'm your boy APT Songs, and I'm making this video because I've been noticing recently on my channel that a video that I posted back in 2011 has been getting a lot of attention lately. I don't even know why. Like, I posted it 6 years ago and forgot about it, and then I've been getting pings on my phone of people leaving comments, and they're not always the nicest of comments, but the video that I made was of a pullover stop that me and one of my friends had in Vegas back in December of 2011. I'll leave a link to that video down below, and I'll just show you a little snippet of it right now.
Las Vegas right now, and we're getting harassed by the popo because we're driving car black.
Might get a ride and take lab on.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. M. Foster of the police force out here who decided to stop us for no reason other than we're driving in a nice car in a wonderful neighborhood, and we had to jump up the curb for a friend who left it in our car last night, and of course doing that, we got stopped.
So as you can see, me and my friend got pulled over, and you know, the video itself doesn't really give the full context of events that happened. So I'm going to briefly go over exactly what happened that night and then that morning that led up to that stop, and why I feel it was a situation where we got stopped simply for driving while black. My good friend who I've known since I was like 7 years old, he is in the Army, he does contract work, and he gets paid a lot of money to do that work. So when he's not over in Afghanistan or Kuwait or wherever working, he likes to come to the States. And so this time, he decided to come out to California to visit me. Because he makes decent money, he rented a really nice car. Like, I forget the actual brand of car, but it was either like a Lexus or a BMW. It was some high-end car, and it was a black car. When he got here, he was like, hey, I want to go to Vegas for a couple of days. Do you want to go? And I was like, yes, I want to go to Vegas. I got relatives that live there. It's always a fun time in Vegas. Let's go. We hop in the car, we go to Vegas. And we meet a homegirl of his out there who happens to be of Caucasian descent. We pick her up, we go out to Vegas. That whole night we're having a great time, and we're going to different casinos, going to different clubs. We end up getting like pancakes and waffles at like 6 in the morning someplace. And then we go and drop this white woman off at her house in this very, very nice neighborhood, all right? We drive off, and we're halfway to my aunt's house when I look in the back of the car and I realize, oh crap, she left her purse in the back of our car. We gotta go back to her house and drop off the purse. So we do a U-turn, we go to her house, my friend gets out the car, he goes and drops the purse off at her house, all right? After that, he gets back into the car, we go to the end of the neighborhood, we stop at the stop sign, complete stop, no rolling stop, nothing, we do a complete stop, we do a left turn, and the next thing I hear is, whoop, 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 whoop. So we're looking at each other like, what are we doing? Like, we literally just made the turn, so we're not speeding. We did a complete stop at the stop sign, so there's no reason for him to stop us for doing a rolling stop. What possible reason could there be that this guy is stopping us? We pull over, and we're sitting there, and the cop comes up to my friend's driver window, rolls down, and he says, hey, Mr. Officer, what's going on today? And so the officer, of course, tells him to keep his hands on the steering wheel, which he does. And so he starts asking us a bunch of questions that don't make sense to us. So the first one he asked us is, what are we doing in this neighborhood? And so my friend's like, oh, we came to drop off a friend and she forgot her purse, so we were just dropping it back off at her house. So then the guy says, well, I noticed your license plate, and the license plate says it's from California. What are you boys doing out here in Vegas? Now at this point, these aren't necessarily appropriate questions, but being black, you have to understand that when you deal with the cops, sometimes you realize you just don't want to fight certain battles. And so we could be the black people that are like, we're going to argue our point and try to get across. We just want to get the heck out of there, and we know we've done nothing wrong. So my friend answers, well, I'm visiting from out of town, and we wanted to come out here for the weekend, so that's what we did. So then the cop starts asking us questions like, well, do you guys have any weapons in your car? Do you guys have any drugs? What have you guys been doing all night? These are like really inappropriate questions, considering that we have up to this point done nothing wrong and have done nothing that indicates there any reason to be suspicious of us, okay? So again, my friend answers all of his questions. And by the way, I want to point out that I'm fairly light-skinned to even tone, and my friend is dark-skinned. At the time, he had a beard, and I had like kind of scraggly face and stuff like that. And so I don't know if the cop just saw us in the car and instantly thought like, oh my God, they must be drug dealers or they must be whatever because of our facial hair or whatever. But the point is that, again, we got stopped for no freaking reason. He asks us a bunch of these types of questions and more, which I can't remember because that was like 6 years ago. But he asks us all these questions, and then he asks my friend's ID. Takes the ID, and he goes back to his car. At which point, this is when we made our video talking about this cop stopping us, and we're waiting for him to get back to us, and all this stuff's going on, whatever. Dude gets back to the car. At this point, my friend pulls out his military ID and gives the military ID to the cop. And as soon as the cop looks at the military ID, he looks at my friend and says, "You have a nice day, sir," and then walks off. So I don't know if because he was in the military that made him realize that he was one of the good black people or whatever, but the whole thing was, to recap, completely ridiculous. In the video, like I said that this is an example of us getting stopped because we're driving while black. We're in a nice car that they probably think we can't afford, and we're in an area that we probably look out of place at because it's a really, really nice, semi-rich area part of Vegas, and why are we there in this nice car going to a white person's house? This looks suspicious. And that just goes to show you that even 2011 to even now, with black people getting called the cops on for sleeping in their own dorm, or for trying to get coffee, or for trying to buy real estate. Like, I know that some people like to think that this kind of stuff does not happen, or that we're making it up in our heads, or that it doesn't exist. But again, this happened in 2011. It's 2018. And these things are still being reported because it is still a major problem. There's still a lot of subconscious bias and conscious bias that is going on with black people. That's why I made that video. What I find interesting though is that the video is getting a lot of traction now, even though I posted it 6 years ago. And a lot of the comments that I've been getting on it, to be honest, definitely show that there's still a level of racism and a level of questionability when it comes to blacks reporting that injustices are happening to them. Let me just give you an example of some of the comments that have been left here, okay? I've got comments such as this. You and your friend are racist fools. You confirmed it by quoting Kanye. You're another misguided Negro. Or how about this one? They stop you looking for that child support. And by the way, neither of us have kids. And then of course somebody put the question people always ask, how do you know it's because you're black? Well, I can imagine it's kind of like the way women can tell that they're being sexually harassed when a male colleague says a certain comment that makes them feel a certain way, or is trying to touch on them inappropriately, and then when they go to report it, the response they get is, well, how do you know that touch was one that was meant to be sexual? Or how do you know that comment was meant to be sexual in that way? Or maybe they didn't mean it like that. The reality is that the victims of these things are always the one that get blamed or questioned instead of the person that did the wrongdoing. In our case, the cop was in the wrong because we were two people out just having a good time in Vegas, doing nothing wrong, didn't try to drink or drive, weren't having any drugs in the car, any weapons, weren't smoking marijuana, and I'm pretty sure he probably thought if he walked up to the car, he'd smoke weed, despite the fact that neither of us, I don't smoke, and my friend was not smoking that weekend at all. So you have to understand that these things do actually exist, and that until people start believing these stories and start really confronting that these things are happening, that this is never going to change, it's never going to get better, and society as a whole is going to suffer from it ultimately. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys the full scope of that story. So like I said, you can check out the video in the link below. And if you guys have your own stories of driving while black or doing anything while black and getting stopped by the cops, I'd love to hear those stories. You can comment below and share them with others. If you want to leave racist comments, because I'm sure I'll get some of those too, just understand I will not be answering them, but you're welcome to show your ignorance in the comments because, you know, you're a scaredy cat who can't do it face to face. So if the comments the way you gotta do it, do what you gotta do. I'm APT Songs. Thanks for watching this video. And by the way, I got a whole album out now called the Black Lives Matter album, which you can get at blacklivesmattermusic.com. It's a really great listen, and a lot of the songs go into just a few of the injustices that we face as black people in this society. Oh, and to all the racists that comment on my video, thank you for adding to my views, because I'm a partner and I get paid for it.